The Appalachian Mountains don't rise to watch long before roads cut through their backs and cabins dotted their valleys. These mountains learned the sound of human footsteps and how to remember them. The trees grow too close here. The fog settles like it's listening, and when the wind moves through the hollows, it doesn't sound like weather. It sounds like breath. The people who live deep in these hills don't talk much about what waits beyond the tree line. They don't need to. They live by rules passed down in whispers. Rules about what you take, what you leave, and what you never, ever disrespect. Because the forest keeps score. And when that balance is broken, something older remembers how to walk again. Tonight, you're not hearing a campfire story. You're hearing a warning. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, the land rises and falls like the back of some ancient, sleeping beast. Ridges cut the sky with jagged lines, and valleys sink so deep the sunlight seems afraid to follow. Fog settles there in the early hours, thick and unmoving, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. The forests are older than names, older than memory, and they watch in a way that makes the air feel heavy. People who grow up in these mountains learn early that the land listens. Every footstep, every broken branch, every careless word is taken in and remembered. And the mountains are patient. They have all the time in the world. The people who live here don't need laws written on paper to survive. The rules come from the land itself. You take only what you need. You waste nothing when an animal dies. Its death must mean something. Meat feeds families. Hides keep out winter. Bones become tools, handles, something useful. Nothing is left behind. Waste, the old folks say, is an insult, and insults do not fade in these woods. They sink into the soil. They root. And sooner or later, they grow teeth. That's why the stories are told at night, by firelight, by elders whose faces look carved from the same stone as the mountains. They speak of a thing that walks when balance is broken, a thing born not from hunger, but from greed. A deer that is no longer just a deer. Its body becomes a vessel, its antlers a crown, its eyes hollow and burning. They call it the Killdeer, and it does not hunt for food. It hunts for judgment. Harlan and Jed Mercer never believed a word of it. They were born in the hollers, but never belonged to them. Money had insulated them from consequence. They hunted with expensive rifles and louder mouths, laughing at superstition and calling the old stories mountain nonsense. To them, the forest wasn't sacred. It was a playground, a backdrop for trophies and photographs, and that made them dangerous in a way the mountains do not forgive. The morning they went hunting, winter had locked the forest into silence. Snow covered the ground in a smooth, blinding white, swallowing sound and depth alike. No birds called, no wind stirred the branches. Only the crunch of boots broke the stillness as the brothers climbed higher, joking too loudly, their voices echoing where nothing else dared to speak. The woods did not welcome them. It endured them. They found the buck just after sunrise. It stood alone in a clearing, steam rising from its nostrils as it pawed through snow for buried acorns. Its antlers were wide and heavy, 12 points branching like a crown meant for something older than men. For a moment, even Jed stopped talking. Harlan lifted his rifle. The shot shattered the quiet. The buck ran wounded, terrified. Alive and the brothers laughed as they followed the blood into the trees. They found it again, collapsed against a fallen log, breath rattling in its chest, eyes still bright with life. Harlan finished it without ceremony. No prayer, no thanks. They took pictures. They admired the antlers. Then they walked away. No knives came out. No work was done. The buck was left in the snow, bleeding into the earth, its death meaningless, and the forest took notice. That night, the woods changed. The air around the carcass grew warm and sour. Snow melted in an uneven ring, exposing dark soil beneath. The buck's eyes flickered, not with life, but with purpose. Bones cracked as it stood again, joints bending wrong, head lifting at a dead angle. The forest poured itself into the empty shell. Balance demanded payment. The Killdeer had been born. At the cabin, Harlan woke to the sound of hooves in snow. Slow, deliberate, circling. Antlers scraped along the roof. Patient and testing. Jed laughed, once nervous and unsure, until the sound came again. Closer this time, when the door finally gave way. It was not with rage, but certainty. The creature filled the doorway, smoke curling through its rack, its wound black and open. Bullets did nothing. Judgment had already been passed. Fire took the cabin before dawn. By morning, there was only ash, twisted beams, and bodies tangled together. Man and deer burned into one story. The reports used clean words, easy explanations, but the mountain folk knew better. Harlan survived, but survival was not mercy. He never hunted again, because in Appalachia, the forest remembers, and the Killdeer still waits. By morning, the forest looks the same as it always has. The snow settles. The fog lifts. The trees stand quiet and still, as if nothing ever happened. That's the lie the mountains tell best, because the Appalachian wilderness doesn't rage. It doesn't hunt in anger. It waits. Patient, ancient, keeping count of every step taken too far, and every rule ignored. The people who know this land still leave offerings, still lower their voices at the tree line, still turn back when the woods go silent, and when the wind moves through the hollows at night. When you hear something heavy walking where no trail exists, remember this. The mountains don't rise. They don't chase. They watch, and they never forget.